The subject of gun violence in America is evergreen. Waiting for a respite in order to catch up is a fool's errand, as is waiting for the rhetoric from the right to change. I don't now often address the issue of mass shootings in this country, especially when children are involved. I find the topic unbearable. I find the intransigence of people who refuse to do anything about it unbearable. My daughter was 11 when 26 and 7-year-olds and 6 adults were slaughtered inside of their elementary school by a man armed with an AR-15 and 10 30-round magazines. His mother had purchased the gun for him because her son was too young to own such a gun legally. When the news of Sandy Hook broke, my daughter was at school, and I spent the intervening hours before I had to pick her up agonizing over what to say. I didn't want to say anything. I wanted to pretend nothing had happened. I wanted to protect her from knowing, because what use could that terrible knowledge be to a child? Of course, the school administrators and teachers talked to the kids. What precisely they said or how they conveyed the information, I don't remember. I don't know the extent to which my daughter was able to process that news. She seemed okay, and I didn't press too much, probably as much for my sake as hers, honestly. All I could do was imagine what those children had gone through in that classroom and what their parents were experiencing after getting the news themselves. And as much as I desperately tried not to, I couldn't help but put myself in their shoes. And I felt inadequate, afraid, and vulnerable as a parent in a way that I had never felt before. The very fact that Sandy Hook broke something in me. And if you're an empathetic human being, it broke something in you too. But of course, what exacerbated the horror of all of it was the almost immediate and defensive reaction from the right en masse, the insistence that the massacre not be politicized, their useless and cowardly calls for thoughts and prayers, their both, as we know, obvious code for doing absolutely nothing. So we are currently in the midst of multiple extremely serious and threatening crises in this country right now. Some of them are uncharted territory. Some of them, like gun violence, have been with us for a long time. We've been grappling with them or ignoring them for a very long time. But all of these things force us to continue asking this question: who are we? And one answer remains the same. We are a people who continue to allow these horrific things to happen to our children, even when we know we can prevent them. Let's dive in. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Mary Trump Live. It is very good to have you here with me. Yes, there was another shooting today. 2 people have lost their lives, and at least 6 people are injured on the campus of Florida State University this today after a gunman opened fire. The shooter was identified as a 20-year-old FSU student and the son of a Leon County Sheriff's deputy. He used a weapon belonging to his mother, a school resource deputy. And in a moment when you would hope that the president of the United States could show an ounce of moral courage or sympathy, if not empathy, this is what Donald had to say to the press.
2 deceased following that shooting at Florida State University. Following and amid that, is there any changes that you want to see to gun legislation? Anything you see broken with gun laws in our country?
I'm going to have to look. I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it, and these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do. It's a phrase that's used probably too often.
Listen, all Republicans are terrible on this issue, so it's not just him. I mean, but to be fair, he literally has no empathy at all, and it's quite despicable to listen to this guy from Queens, New York, who had nothing to do with guns for most of his life, pretend that he cares about guns any more than he cares about children. So yes, that's a little hard to take. But he is just trotting out the same well-worn phrases we've been hearing from the right forever. Ever since the NRA became an activist organization that believes that guns should have more rights than most people. Guns don't shoot people, people shoot people. Well, people without guns don't shoot people. That's true. And it is so exhausting because we know that buyback programs work. We know because we've seen that happen in Australia. We know what the statistics are in countries around the world. We know that the only reason we have the problem we have is because there are more guns than people in the United States of America. They're barely regulated. And not only that, the kinds of guns people own are weapons of mass destruction. We're not talking about rifles and handguns. We're talking about semi-automatic weapons that can shoot dozens of rounds in less than a minute. That's insane. That is objectively insane for your position to be. Everybody should be able to have a weapon like that. Anyway, so whenever there's a mass shooting, that is always the trope. It's the mental health of the shooter. But again, they do nothing to prevent people who have committed crimes, who've committed domestic violence, or who had severe psychiatric orders from getting guns. So if they were really concerned, they wouldn't continue to cut funding to mental health programs, would they? No, they wouldn't. But this is, this is about exercising power and leaving the rest of us feeling helpless and demoralized. So just getting back to the mental health, they also say it's video games sometimes, to which I say, talk to Japan. It's pornography. Again, no offense, Japan, but talk to Japan if you think that's an issue that creates gun violence. We know that the Trump regime cut $11 billion in funding for mental health and addiction recently. So it's all empty rhetoric. And I think it's very important to start from here. They don't care. I know that that's a recurring theme whenever we talk about Donald Trump and his regime, but they don't care because it's a wedge issue. It's a way to keep people afraid, and they know their base loves to feel afraid. They also know when their base is afraid, they are so much more easily manipulable. And Donald knows what that's like because he's the most easily manipulated person on the planet. So always start from there. This issue is not one they want to solve. It's an issue they want to continue to make worse because it works for them electorally. And it keeps the people who keep them in power terrified. Today, Donald met with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, kind of a Mussolini fan. The discussion was largely about tariffs, where Donald once again reiterated his position about being in no rush to conclude any trade deals.
President Trump says he's optimistic about trade deals with Italy and Europe, and that in time there may be one with China.
At a certain point, yeah, we're in no rush. We're in no rush.
But okay, why? I mean, the economy's tanking. Prices are getting higher. Inflation is going up. What's the rush? I think there are probably a lot of American people who would say there is one. Despite the meeting, Meloni was unable to persuade Donald to ease off of existing tariffs to the European Union and their exports, including very high 25% levies on on steel, aluminum, and automobiles. She's the first leader from the European Union to meet with Donald amidst the tariff fears from European countries, perhaps because they have the fascism thing in common. I don't know. But anyway, she was unable to persuade him is what I meant to say. So I apologize if I misspoke. But speaking of fool's errands, I mean, nobody's going to be able to persuade him. Certainly not her. Like, I don't know what she thinks she would have to say, but whatever it is doesn't really exist. Afterwards, Donald took the opportunity to spout lies in the press conference that followed. And some of the most egregious lies he told were, of course, about the economy.
You did say that you are confident these deals will be done, but you also said that you're in no rush. Americans are seeing prices rise. They're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So they've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well, you have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially. The price of groceries are substantially down.
Wow, he said groceries. I thought that term had gone out of fashion. I guess we're using it again. All right, so that was a threefer. He insulted a reporter who asked a perfectly reasonable question and basically said she was stupid, which is, I don't know, not a quality I prefer in people who are in the Oval Office. He lied about numbers he was just pulling out of the air. And he essentially told the American people, do not believe your own lying eyes, because apparently, instead of what's actually happening, which is prices getting higher, inflation getting higher, the stock market acting like it's on drugs, quite frankly, it is so unstable. It is so volatile. We have seen it. We have seen the economy get much better. Yeah, none of that's true. So at the time of this press conference, the Dow is down. The NASDAQ is wavering back and forth on gains and losses in the wake of the tariff chaos, which this week started coming from the tech industry. And the NASDAQ is tech heavy. So it has been all over the place. And again, maybe it wasn't a terrible day today. There have been terrible days this week, but that's not the point. As I've said repeatedly, and as any economist who understands this stuff will tell you, the markets hate uncertainty and chaos. The volatility index is one of the indices by which we know how bad things are. And when the volatility index is high, the market is not a safe place for anybody. Now, Donald claims that grocery prices are down. Of course, he's going to claim grocery prices are down. Again, he's probably proud of the fact that he remembered the word grocery. But the most recent prices reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics do not reflect the impact yet that Donald's tariffs are going to have on the prices of goods. So what does that mean? That means that they're going to get worse, because we haven't even taken into account the one factor that is most going to influence rising prices. The cost of eggs hit an all-time high in March, with the average price of 1 dozen grade A eggs at $6.23, showing a 25% increase compared to the price of 1 dozen eggs just 2 months earlier in January. The average price of 1 pound of ground beef has risen 6% since January, reaching an all-time high of $5.85 in March. I mean, honestly, I don't eat either eggs or meat, so I don't know if it's weird for eggs to be more expensive than meat, but it seems like it is. It's clear that Donald is, I mean, whether he's doing it on purpose, I don't know, but every step he's taken has been with the end result of torching the economy. He's also threatening to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell, a move that experts and even Donald's allies alike agree would be catastrophic for our economy, which I'll explain in a second. But watch first what he had to say.
On Jerome Powell, you said that
termination of Jerome Powell cannot come fast enough. He says he won't leave, even if you ask him to.
Oh, he'll leave. If I ask him to, he'll be out of there. But I don't think he's doing the job. He's too late, always too late, a little slow, and I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
Ooh, he's such a tough guy. I'm so glad we gave him power. All right, the job of the Fed chair is to manage and stabilize, when necessary, the economy. And part of that has to do with raising and lowering interest rates to cool inflation, to heat things up when necessary. I mean, I don't understand the ins and outs of it, but you know who does? Jerome Powell. You know who also does not understand? Donald. Because what Jerome Powell is doing right now is managing a situation that has been created solely by Donald Trump. Donald doesn't like what Jerome Powell is doing because Donald thinks he knows better. Jerome Powell, however, is, okay, here's the thing about the economy and the role of the Fed chair. The economy doesn't like partisan politics. As it, like the market, it likes certainty, it likes stability. Fed chairs are there to ignore partisan politics, to ignore demands of made by one party or the other, and to do the job of keeping the economy stable or nurturing it when it's taken a hit, an unexpected hit or a predicted hit, when inflation is high, etc., by raising and lowering interest rates, as I said. That's their job. They cannot care what some politician has to say about how they do their jobs, because they actually understand how these things work. And for Donald to insert himself into this is dangerous, of course, but misguided, of course, but it threatens an already dangerous and chaotic situation with becoming more dangerous and chaotic. And we just have to wish Jerome Powell luck in negotiating all of this. All right, so before I continue, please take a second and like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast, rate it and follow it. Thank you. Today, U.S. Secretary of State, or I guess part-time Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, along with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, participated in high-level peace talks in Paris with Ukrainian and European officials, marking the first such summit since Donald's term began. France 24's Clovis Casali has more.
Ahead of this lunch, Élysée sources tell us that Emmanuel Macron spoke to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, of course, to get his assessment, his point of view on the situation in Ukraine, with, again, fresh hits, strikes carried out by Russia on Ukrainian soil. These diplomatic talks, just for a final word, aim also for Europe to try to get a say, to try to understand also what is being negotiated between the US and Russia, between the US and Iran. And that's why this lunch between Emmanuel Macron and Steve Witkoff and Marco Rubio can be revealing in terms of getting information.
A multinational coalition led by Britain and France is considering overseeing any potential peace deal contingent upon U.S. military support, which still remains uncertain. It's uncertain because Donald is beholden to Vladimir Putin and refuses to understand the most basic facts about this war. Who started it, and who's the injured and aggrieved party here, and what actually needs to happen. Donald has yet to pledge his support for Ukraine in this war, even though Ukraine is supposed to be our ally and Russia, our enemy, was the country that illegally invaded Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky emphasized the need for firm security guarantees and proposed ceasefire terms with no territorial concessions. And there lies the rub, because what Vladimir Putin wants all of Ukraine. And what it seems like Donald Trump is willing to allow is a peace deal that grants Russia any of the Ukrainian territory it has already been able to steal during this illegal invasion. That should be a non-starter for anybody who cares about democracy or Western liberal democracy or NATO or our allies. Of course, Donald doesn't care about any of those things, so this remains a very tenuous and, quite frankly, dangerous situation. Because we do not, the only thing we know with any certainty is that Donald is more apt to do Putin's bidding than protect the interests of the Ukrainian people or the American people. Today, U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema ruled that Google holds an illegal monopoly in the publisher ad server and ad exchange markets and has violated antitrust laws by stifling competition. The Department of Justice and 17 state attorneys general initiated the lawsuit, alleging that Google's practices harmed publishers and consumers by maintaining over a 90% market share in these areas. While the court did not find sufficient evidence to declare Google's advertiser ad network a monopoly, it criticized the company for deleting internal communications. It's typically not supposed to be done. Remedies, including potential divestitures of parts of Google's ad tech business, will be determined in a future hearing. Google, of course, plans to appeal the decision. This ruling adds to Google's legal challenges following a separate antitrust decision regarding its online search dominance by a Washington, D.C. federal judge in August of 2024. I have a, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a strange feeling that Google probably thought that, their guy, Donald Trump, would protect them after donating $1 million to his inaugural fund. Oops. Guys, you're Google, $1 million. Like, that's the equivalent of what I can find under my couch cushions, which, trust me, isn't much. So do you seriously think $1 million is going to get you anywhere with Donald Trump's DOJ? Come on. I mean, you could do better than that. Don't worry. You're not going to have to guess. I'm sure he'll tell you. All right. Another day in America. And we have, thankfully, come to our emotional support moment. I think we should have one between every segment. I'm getting a no. All right. Well, then, you know what? It makes them more important then if we wait until the very end. So, did you know this? Much like domestic cats, the little guys, tigers like playing with toys as well. They play with a variety of toys of all shapes and sizes. They like big balls. They like little balls. They like balls with the bells inside. Like Lyndon and Cap. Actually, they don't really play with toys because they're weird. But like most cats who like toys, tigers roll toys. They chase them and sometimes they bite them as if they're prey. So today, and tigers are awesome, obviously. There's an amazing documentary about them. I'll look it up for next time. It's shot and it's so beautiful. So I'll let you guys know next time what it's called and where to find it. But I think it's on PBS. So catch it before PBS disappears. Anyway, today's emotional support moment comes from our very own Mary Trump community member, Elizabeth R. So thank you so much for this, Elizabeth. She just sent it to us recently. So let's watch this and then we'll talk more. I swear that little guy fell asleep at the end. He was so zen. He finally is like, okay, I'm balanced now. I'm floating. Good night. I would love to do that with that tiger, but I'd probably end up. It wouldn't end well for me, most likely. But that was awesome. So thank you, Elizabeth. And just a reminder: anybody has emotional support moments, please send them our way, because as I've mentioned in the past, some days we literally are like Googling, did anything good happen today? And sometimes even the all-powerful Google says no. So you would be providing us a great. How about this? If you send us an emotional support moment, I will waive the late fee, which doesn't exist. All right, let's get to your comments, questions, etc. 6 cents, Amelia. Thank you so much from New Zealand. Oh, okay. This is going to take a second. Okay. Supercalifragistic, racist, sexist, Nazi, POTUS. All right. Woohoo. Oh, I feel like I should be done now because I can't top that. I like it. That's a t-shirt. Mighty Cheryl, thank you as always. Oh, no, comment. Have to leave early fee. I'm sorry and sad. I mean, we're sorry too. You probably aren't here anymore. But hopefully you'll catch it on the replay. So thank you. And again, the fees are not just optional, they're fictional. But you guys keep coming up with them. Jacqueline, thank you so very much, Jacqueline. Question. Mary, do you think your uncle has brain damage, physical lesions that account for his complete lack of human empathy? No, I mean, no. Well, let me start over. I'm not a neurologist. I'm not a neuropsychologist. I have no idea. I have no insight into what may or may not be going on with him neurologically or in terms of his brain. No clue at all. However, the complete lack of human empathy, that's learned behavior. So he has had decades to hone that particular skill. The truth of the matter is that Donald used to be somebody who had empathy. Not a lot. Like there was some little tiny spark of kindness in him. I mean, he was really bad at it, but he tried in his warped way. But, that's what happens when your father is a sociopath. And then, unfortunately, far too many people liked the fact that he was perfectly comfortable with being cruel and not having empathy. And now he doesn't have any. Yep. It's kind of our problem now. Just me. Thank you as always, Australia in the house. Comment. Our greatest strengths overdone are often our greatest weaknesses. Question. How might this apply to America? Wow. It's an excellent question. I'm having trouble thinking of any of our strengths right now. I'm sorry if I don't mean to be cynical, but yeah, I think that here's one. I think it is a great human strength to give other people the benefit of the doubt. However, when people don't deserve it, becomes a massive liability. And we've seen the Democrats do this with the Democratic Party time and time again. We've seen the corporate media do this with Donald time and time again. Yeah. So that's just right off the top of my head. That's the first thing I could think about, but I don't know. I'm sure there are more worse things, but it's a great question, and I will continue to think about it. And then I should probably pay a late fee for not having come up with the right answer right away. Night Owl, thank you so very much for that comment. They always forget the well-regulated part of the Second Amendment. Don't they just? You know what other part they forget? They forget the word militia. The Second Amendment is perhaps the most horribly written and most consequential amendment in the entire Constitution. Its vagueness is weird. I don't even know why it's in there. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, but I don't remember which case. I think it was Heller, but don't quote me because I'm a layperson. There was a gun case that when Scalia was still alive, and they basically just elided the part of the Second Amendment that talked about well-regulated militias. So it just became about the right to keep and bear arms. And that's when the Second Amendment, when the right to keep and bear arms became an individual right, which it never had been before. That's one of the many reasons we're in the huge amount of trouble we're in when it comes to guns. Stephanie, Canadian in the house. Thank you so much, Canada. You are awesome. And thank you for that as well. Comment, Mary, thank you for all you do. You're so appreciated. Please take good care of yourself. We need your voice here in Canada too. Well, thank you. I love Canada. I'd love to visit up there one of these days. And no, I mean, we truly appreciate everything you guys are doing, and we feel awful for what our government is doing to your country. So undeservedly. Sybil, thank you very much for that. It's very kind. Question. I'm not, let's see. Okay, I got it. If the reporter Donald Slam to respond to him by saying, that's just nasty, how would it affect him? Well, unfortunately, reporters, I mean, that's not their job. They're never going to do that. I don't really know how a reporter could respond. But if they did say that, because as I'm sure you're aware, and some other people may not be, like that's something my grandfather would say. Like if anybody, like including me, like stood up for ourselves, he'd be like, that's nasty. So I don't think Donald would take it well, is my answer. Yeah, I'm still waiting for him to have a temper tantrum. But that would require somebody standing up and saying something that would get under his skin. Can't imagine who's going to do that. Donna, thank you so very much. I like this fee. Can we implement this one? Because I like this one. It's My Cats Love Mary fee. And it looks like there might be 3 of them. That's officially a fee. Thank you. Just me again. Comment. Apparently, American love for an apology to Canada billboards and bus stop ads are popping up across Canada. Thank you, Americans. Yes, they are. And they're great. And as far as I'm aware, because we talked about it earlier in the week, they are funded by an anonymous individual. And I think it's a great message. And it, reminds our friends to the north that there are a lot of us who feel awful about what's going on and wish there was something we could do other than put up billboards. But, I mean, there is, of course, but we want to remind Canadians that most people in this country are horrified by what's happening. And there are a lot of us who are going out of our way not to buy American goods that Canadians aren't buying and to buy Canadian goods. Like hockey sticks. Maple. I don't want to stereotype, so I'm going to leave it at that. Buy Canadian, whatever it is. Me and my human. Oh, awesome! Thank you very much for that comment. Keep speaking and spreading sanity. Many thanks to you and all your support staff. Oh well, thank you. Yeah, we love what we do, and my team are amazing. So thank you for appreciating them. Pink Nightmare. All right. Wow. Thank you very much for that. Comment. I donate for the emotional support moment. I can't see what the emoji is. Sorry. It's tiny. It's a llama. More llamas and PJs. Cool. Thank you so much. I probably said it wrong. I don't know. But thank you. Mariana, thank you as always. Comment, my late fee for missing you last night. Well, that, again, not necessary. which so much appreciated. Very cool. The slave fee thing, I don't know. I'm afraid I'm going to get in some kind of trouble because people are going to start thinking that I'm, serious. Roxana, thank you so much. Oh, a cat treat fee. I'm telling you, there are going to be married. There's going to be a what do you call them? Not a passel. What do you call a group of kittens? It's a really great. It's an adorable term. Like murder of crows, passel of, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. Not a litter. I mean, yes, when they're first born, it's a litter of kittens, but I mean a group of kittens, and somebody might know. But anyway, I think that's going to be another official fee, the cat treat fee, because there will be a horde. That's the wrong word. Of marriage media kittens one of these days. A clouder of kittens, which makes no sense. When I first saw that, I was like, kitten chowder? That sounds wrong. But it's clouder. I mean, that word, that's a really specific word. Now, that's archaic. Want to talk about groceries being archaic? I give you clouder. Kay, thank you so very much. Comment, the gopher rehoming to Mar-a-Lago fee. That's great. We're going to need more than that, though, because I'm telling that's going to be a horde, a legion, a horde of trained gophers who know exactly how to get in, get out. We're going to need ninja gophers. That kind of training is expensive. Gary, another Canadian in the house. Thank you so much, Gary. Comment, thank you, Mary. You cheer me up. Donald couldn't make a cup of coffee or a meal for himself. How manly. Yeah, no kidding. I can do both of those things. Not particularly well, but still, I'd try. Really appreciate it. And also, as for the cheering up part, that guy does not make it easy. Wow. Unfucking believable. I don't know if I said that properly. Maybe I should have just not said that out loud. My apologies if I mispronounced it. Thank you very much. Question, did you catch Donald's rant about birthright citizenship and slavery in the executive order presser? It was utterly bizarre. We'll be talking about that tomorrow because there's a ruling that we need to discuss. And there's only so much one person can take in a day, quite frankly, because that is, that is bad. But thank you for pointing it out. And we will be talking about it tomorrow. Free New Hampshire, thank you so much for this. Comment, you're the best, Nancy. What is Donald's kryptonite? I don't know who Nancy is, but somebody thinks you're the best, so that's awesome. Donald's kryptonite is being told in no uncertain terms what a total loser he is. His greatest fear in life is being humiliated. And it's very mock him relentlessly. I've been saying forever, but nobody did it. Because remember, giving people the benefit of the doubt, he's going to be presidential any day now. Yeah. So I don't know. We may have missed the opportunities, but I'm still looking. Pam Klein, thank you so much for that. Comment, I would not be able to make it through a day without you. Oh, wow. That's very kind of you. Have you been able to watch The Americas, which is narrated by Tom Hanks? You would love it. I haven't heard of it, actually, but I'm going to check it out now. Cool. Good to know. Thank you. All right. Going to get around to thanking some people now. Sue, thank you very much for that. It's very kind of you. Elizabeth, super sticker. Fantastic. Thank you. A bunch of super stickers. Kathleen, thank you so much for that. Stacy 3107, thank you. That's very generous of you. Elizabeth, thank you as well. That's great. Renoir, thank you very much. Mary, thank you very much as well. Look at all these super stickers. Anathema Fox, thank you. Awesome. Mary, thank you very much for that. Cindy, all super stickers, guys. You guys are awesome. H for Mullion, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Thank you so very much for that. Another super sticker. Violet Drummer, thank you very much. And also loving the emojis. A lot of cats, a drum, and a puppy. Emily, another super sticker. Thank you, Emily. Mickey, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. S. Smith, I have dogs, Fee. Dogs are perfectly allowed and loved here. So thank you. And thank your puppy. Carolyn, thank you very much. Question. Any comments on the birthday parade? Oh, there will be. There will be. I'm saving my strength. Henry, thank you so much. Question, as always, thanks always for your support of us. Question, how do you decompress after the never-ending madness? The cats and I think you're perfect. Oh, that's very kind. Well, I mean, I decompress by knowing that cats are on my side. That helps. I don't really decompress. I have to figure that one out, actually. It's kind of tricky, but good advice. Jane, thank you so very much. Jane, comment, love watching the perspective and honesty you give and the calm grounding I get from it. Well, thank you. That's good to hear. Question, who are the older pics behind Donald in the Oval Office? I don't know. I haven't. I mean, I know that there's a picture of my grandfather and there's a picture of my grandmother. The one of my grandfather was sort of like his standard headshot that was taken probably in the 40s. And the one of my grandmother, which I find a little weird, is like a picture that was taken shortly after she came to the States in the 20s, when she was quite young. As I haven't perused what is behind him because I haven't. But as far as I'm aware, like those are the only pictures of his family of origin. And funny story. When I went to the Oval Office in April of 2017, there was only a picture of my grandfather. And my Aunt Marianne said, "Hey, Donald, maybe you should have a picture of Mom up there." And he said, "Oh, yeah, Marianne, that's a great idea. Why don't you get me one?" So that's why there's a picture of my grandmother up there. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, he hated her. I think she hated him too, which is also part of the reason we're here. Cool. Henry, thanks very much, Henry. That's very kind of you. Except I've already done that. So thank you. I'm going to thank you again anyway. I'm going the wrong direction. I don't know what's happening. Oh, I know what happened. There we go. Susan, super sticker. Wow, Susan, thank you very much. It's great. Really appreciate it. Tia Mia, another super sticker. Thank you as always for that. Free New Hampshire. Thank you very much. Comment, your voice and perspective are so important. Well, I appreciate your saying so. Question, has the Project 2025 secret 180-day playbook surfaced Pilar 4 in Project 2025? I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like every day they're implementing as many of the goals laid out in Project 25. I don't think they're being secret about it, but I guess I'll check that out. I mean, if there are things happening below the radar, that's worrisome because so much awful stuff is happening in the open. So I don't know. I hope not. All right. Anyway, guys, that is it for us. Thank you so very much. Do not forget about sending us emotional support moments. We'd really appreciate it. Everybody watching on YouTube, Twitter, everybody live streaming over on Substack. Thank you so much for that. And of course, everybody listening to the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's very helpful. To all of our super stickers and everybody giving us gifts. It helps us so tremendously, especially on days like today. It's another tough day. And it's nice to know that you guys value what we do. And, even though those of you liking, sharing, commenting, we appreciate all of that, as well as everybody subscribing. That's honestly the easiest way to support us. Just subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. Click on that bell icon afterwards, and that way you can be alerted every time new videos drop. Because again, we do the lives Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we have Ask Mary Anything also live on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern. But we have videos dropping every single day, so you'll be alerted whenever they do. So those are also videos you can like and share and comment on. So that would be awesome. Thank you also to our moderators. And if anybody had a message for me, they could leave it in the chat. That would be very helpful. I don't read lips very well, as it turns out. And apparently I also can't read tiny writing. Anyway, who else would need to think? Oh, our amazing moderators, of course, who do an amazing job. And I know it is not an easy one. So we really appreciate you guys. I forgot to mention, we do have people I mentioned from my Substack with that. It's just a newsletter. It's called The Good in Us. And we live stream this show over on my Substack. And then afterwards, we just post it with a transcript. So, if you prefer reading, you could read it. Sometimes that happens. So another really important way, it's free to subscribe over there. And 99% of the content is for free subscribers as well. However, a great way to support us is to become a paid subscriber. It's not a lot of money. And one, it helps support us at our work because Substack is kind of our hub at the moment. But also it helps us, it helps us give away free subscriptions for people who can't afford a paid one, people who are on a fixed income, which is increasingly the case, students, people who are working anymore, who have retired, what have you. So that's something that's really important to us. And that's something that you can help us with. So also it's a completely like-minded community, and it's just a different way of interacting over there. So check it out. Just specifically the mods today, Deb and Susan. Thanks, guys. You rock as always. And of course, to my team, who once again had to sift through a lot of difficult topics today, and always get the job done in a quite extraordinary way. So thanks to my team, as always. It's Thursday, and I know that. We will be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Mary Trump Live. Again, we've got a bunch of videos dropping tomorrow, so please check those out. Subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind.